This is Kerrigan & Company. Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the Boston lover on your list? My friends at College Hype can help. My City Gear, powered by College Hype, has a wide array of custom apparel for your favorite townie. Shop for short and long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, and much more, all in a wide variety of designs. Plus, they have apparel that's specific to Boston, Charlestown, Dorchester, and Southie. Enter code KIM20 at mycitygear.com to get 20% off your entire order. That's promo code KIM20 for 20% off at mycitygear.com. Hi, everybody. It's Kim, and we're cruising through memorabilia this week. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Kerrigan & Company. So glad that you could be with us this time. We have a great episode full of some really exciting stories to share, but I'm especially excited about this week's co-host keeping me company. Now, if you're a country fan, like I am a country fan, then this is a voice that you have missed the last couple of months. I know that I certainly have, but I am thrilled that she's sitting right here next to me. Everybody, this is, of course, Carolyn Kruse.
Hello.
I'm so glad you're
Kim,
here.
thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk.
I was just going to say, this is so ridiculous. You know, in my life, people will say to me, "Oh, I just get so excited to see people that are on TV." I get so excited to see people who are on TV or to hear people that I recognize their voice. And your voice to me is just comfort, and it's great. So it's terrific to see you.
Thank you so much. Feels good. It feels right.
Good.
To be here with you.
I am so glad. And you brought me flowers.
Well, it's so lovely of you to invite me, first of all. And then, Thanksgiving coming up. And plus, I thought it would make the whole studio a little brighter.
You're so exactly right. So homey and warm. See, that's what we needed you.
It's all
this is
about.
why we miss you. A retired Carolyn Kruse,
Yes.
no less.
Oh, my gosh. It's so great.
Yeah, the end of August, right?
Yeah.
So what's life been like as a retired person?
Well, it's funny. When I was crazy busy doing my commute every morning, that sometimes could be an hour and a half each way.
Right.
And feeling miserable about that and missing out on things, I would watch people leisurely walking their dog on my street and think, someday I'm going to have that, and go to a yoga class and then go out to lunch with friends. And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. You're awfully young to be retired, Missy.
No. Well, I might do something else down the line. I am giving myself a year, spend time with my family. I get to see my parents a lot more often than I used to, which is awesome. And that was a major factor in me leaving, because they're not going to be around forever, so enjoy them while you have them. And I might do some fun retirement job in a year.
Sure. Give yourself a chance to breathe.
Yes.
You had been on the radio for 31 years.
On that station.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other stations previously. But.
Wow. 31 years is a long time, Carolyn, for
Yes.
any media person to be on any one station.
Exactly.
So that wasn't easy to walk away from.
No, it wasn't. But, it's changed so much, so it made it a little easier. It was kind of lonely in the end because, staffs get smaller and smaller, and the hall was a little emptier, so there wasn't all the people congregating like it used to be. So like all businesses, radio has changed quite a bit, and most of the time I embraced it. I was like, yep, we can do this. I felt like I won Survivor, honestly. All the years when you'd see cuts happening and changes. I mean, we had 3 dial positions, we had 2 sets of call letters, and 3 buildings that we went from one to the next to the next.
And everybody needs to know that's WKLB.
Right, Country 102.5.
You bet. And you were midday.
Yes.
And was that a shift that you had the entire time?
No, I started at nights. It was Memorial Day weekend of 1993. How could you forget that? Because I'm like, yep, I got to work the whole weekend. But that's okay, because I've been waiting my whole life for that.
Right, exactly.
And then I went to mornings, and I was the only female lead morning radio personality for about a year and a half. And I don't think there's ever been one since that's been a lead, which was very exciting, and I was so honored. And then I got pregnant. And then I took maternity leave, and they're like, nope, you're coming back middays. But it worked out. to be
absolutely.
a parent.
Sure.
So it worked out really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have to tell you, the fans adore you. That's the part I mean, you had
That's
to
what I
felt
miss.
that. Absolutely. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do people, I mean, the one thing about being on the radio, though, you can kind of sneak out somewhere and maybe as long as you don't speak. But I would imagine even if you're on the aisle next to someone and they hear you speak, they turn and they know.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah,
Or
I
like
bet.
out to dinner and a wait staff will recognize the voice.
Sure.
That happened, especially in the middle of my career, a lot.
Yeah.
Because our station was so huge. I mean, we were like top of the ratings and winning awards. So, they recognized my voice, definitely. But, most people, you have to have a really good ear. I mean, sometimes I think I recognize a voice and I'm like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
I know you recently had on Susan Warnick. And that was the surprise guest. And I was trying to figure it out. And I thought I'd know that voice. And I thought it was my friend Lori Grandy, who's also in radio, and she works at WBZ doing traffic reports now. But I used to work with her, and I'm like, it's got to be Lori Grandy. So I'm not so good at recognizing voices.
Boy, you on a radio station, on a country station in Boston. Very interesting. I am from the Midwest. We were country fans all of our lives. You move to Boston, you don't think there's country fans in Boston. That is not the case. But would you say that maybe over the last 10 years, it just skyrocketed here in the area? Yeah.
Yes. Even more than that, maybe 20 years. The concerts, that's how you can tell because they started out close to a sellout or half full, and as years went on, you couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah.
And unless you paid a lot of money. And now everything seems sold out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, stars can't come here fast enough, and they can't have enough nights here, in the New England area.
And they feel the passion that we have. They always say one of our favorite, if not our favorite market is Boston because the fans are crazy, loud, passionate, stand the whole time, which we do.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
when you sit down at a concert, you're like, what is wrong with these people?
I know I stand the entire time. My husband is constantly telling me to sit down, Kim.
Down in front.
Right. Yeah, right. That's why we can't sit in front. We have to sit back because Kim will be standing and then that gets us in trouble. Now, one of the artists that comes to the area all the time, of course, is Kenny Chesney.
Oh, my heart.
I know. And you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Yeah.
We said you retired in August, and Kenny comes to Gillette, and he loves it here. And he comes, is it 3 nights usually?
No, this was the first time he did 3 nights. He did 2 nights before that for many years.
So tell our listeners, tell them what happened in August of 24 to Carolyn Kruse when she went to Gillette Stadium to see Kenny
Greatest
Chesney.
surprise of my life.
Yeah.
I've never been surprised. I've had surprise parties and I was like, yeah, this is the night. We all been there.
Right.
But,
I'll let my husband think it was a surprise.
That's right. Oh, wow. But no, I went to the show with my boss and dear friend, Dawn Santalacito, and she said, oh, we're going to meet Kenny. And I said, oh, that's great. I've met him before, but it had been a while. And I've certainly talked to him a lot on the phone. And literally, since his first hit was like the year I started. So we had this journey together, and I've interviewed him many, many times over the years. So I get backstage to meet him, and I thought that was it. This is great. So good to see you, Kenny. And he's like, congratulations on retirement. And we took a picture, and I thought, that's it. Then we're back in the pit, the sandbar, watching the show. And then my friend Dawn says, got another special thing for you. He wants you to see what it's like from the stage, to look out at the people, 50-some thousand people at Gillette Stadium. And oh my God, this is unbelievable. I'm back there, and I thought, this is it. This is so great. Then someone comes over and brings me this big thermos-like drink holder. And I said, oh, thank you. And it says No Shoes Nation, which is his fan club. And I'm like, that's so nice. And it's filled. And I took a sip, and they're like, oh, it's a margarita for you from Kenny. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. And I thought that was it. I'm ready to walk away. They're like, no, wait a second. And then I see the photographer coming toward me. She puts her camera down. There's another photographer, and she grabs my hand. And I said, what are you doing? And she said, come with me. And then I see Kenny turn around and give the okay. I'm like, oh my God, no. And all I could think about was, first of all, I can't feel my legs. I literally couldn't feel my legs.
Can I walk? Can I walk?
And then I was like, oh my God, why am I wearing
the first
plaid shirt, tied around my waist, like ripped up jeans and sneakers because we're standing, right?
Right.
I was like, oh no, not this outfit. I had to collect my thoughts and realize where I was and what was happening. Thank God I didn't have to talk because I don't think I could have.
I bet.
But he just was so gracious to give his time to say, congratulations, thank you for these 31 years. We've been here together on this journey. And I just
And
almost
Carolyn,
fainted.
what was that crowd doing? Because that
my
crowd
gosh.
knew you.
Yeah, well, he said, let's all say thank you, Kruser. And they all said, thank you, Kruser. And I just wanted to die in a good way and go to heaven. I felt like I was there.
Oh,
and I just
it's a great
walked
story.
off and thought, wow, I can't believe he gave me that much time. And a helmet. He gave me a Patriots helmet that he autographed.
Oh, that's so great.
That he made me put on my head, which is,
It's another thing. Thank you. Thank you for putting that on my head in front of all these people.
But,
it's such
as an
it's a
insecure
fabulous
woman, that's
story.
what you think about. Those things.
No, every woman thinks
Yeah.
about that. That has nothing to do with your security level.
But it was amazing.
It
And what a
is.
way to go out.
Oh, it's just fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank
But
you.
you know what? That's not how you're going out because now you've been nominated for the Country Music Hall of Fame.
The Country Radio Hall of
Yeah.
Fame. Yeah, I just found that out a few days ago. So I'm filling out
Congratulations.
the paperwork, and it's.
So what happens?
I
What-
don't
what-
know. All I know is that they'll contact me in January if it happens. Oh, gosh. So, but hey, like they say, it's an honor to be nominated.
Well, it is it's an honor to be nominated, and you should be so proud. What an incredible career! But I hope you win.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's an honor to be nominated, but I want you to win. Hey, where does Kruser come from?
Oh my gosh, I never know what to say to this question because I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Midwest girl like you.
Yeah.
But we only lived there like a year. And then we moved every 3 years, basically. In Pennsylvania, we lived the longest, outside of Philadelphia, in Media, Pennsylvania. Probably 6 years there. Yeah. Lived in New Jersey twice, lived in Cohasset, lived in New Canaan, Connecticut. I went to 3 years of high school there, finished high school there. So, and then I went to college at Emerson in Boston and loved it here. Then I went to San Diego, and that's where I met my husband, and I made him come back here.
Wow.
Yeah, can you imagine? I made him leave San Diego, California to come to Gardner, Massachusetts because I had my first full-time job there.
Yeah.
I kept
Sure.
trying to get
Absolutely.
get a gig. So I guess I'm mostly from the Northeast. That's what I say.
Yeah, yep. And so that's you have been cruising ever since. Is that it?
Yes, I have been cruising, Kim. And now I'm not cruising so much.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
That
You're
is
still
good.
known as Kruser. It doesn't make any
Yes.
difference. Listen, we do this thing. It's called College Hype Fast Five.
Oh, yes.
All right.
College hype.
There you
They
have
used to
it.
do some stuff with us at the station.
Everybody loves College Hype and our good friend Jack Doherty, and we appreciate them
Oh,
so
gosh.
much.
Hi, Jack.
College Hype, making a difference, one T-shirt at a time. Visit collegehype.com today. All right, so these are 5 rapid-fire questions.
I won't be good at this.
You get 30 seconds for total.
Okay.
And here we go. We'll start the clock. Here we go. What do you miss the most about radio?
Friends and listeners.
Who's the country artist you haven't met but you would like to meet?
I thought about that the other day, and I've pretty much met everyone. In person, Dolly Parton. I have not met her in person.
Oh, that would be a good one to meet, that's for sure. Other than turkey, what's your one must-have when it comes to Thanksgiving?
Oh, stuffing, 100%.
Mine would be pumpkin pie, I must
is
say.
it? Is it? Oh.
What's your favorite place to go in Nashville?
Probably Tootsie's. It's, tradition.
Absolutely. And what is the thing that you looked forward to the most when it comes to retirement?
Traveling someday.
Yeah.
I've done little road trips, which is really fun, but I want to go to Europe and and different places.
Yeah, and that's the great thing. You have two children.
Yes.
How old are your kids?
27, my son, and my daughter is 23. She graduated last year.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely. So they're out, and now it's time for you guys to go start cruising in some other places,
Yeah,
right?
how about your kids?
My kids are the exact same age.
They
and
are?
Yeah, and they are both out, and we're getting ready to do a whole bunch of cruising ourselves. So
Where do you wanna
completely
go?
I want to go back. I've been to Europe a number of times, but I'm ready to go back again.
Did you have a favorite spot in Europe?
Well, I think probably my favorite spot is Italy. And
I've only been to Italy. We went last year for the first time.
Excellent.
The whole family.
Did you love it?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
You can eat like a king and not spend money like a king.
It's the truth.
Have as much wine as you can, and you
not
don't
have a hangover.
Yeah, right, no hangover. And the prices were just unbelievable. Yeah. I was like, really? For a family of 5 here?
Yeah.
Because we had my son's girlfriend.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
It is amazing. And the people are terrific. So that'll be a place that we certainly get back to here sometime very soon.
Don't blame you.
Another place I love to go is Fenway Park, and I know you do too.
That's like my church.
I know. If you've listened to Carolyn, then you know she is a huge Red Sox fan. They kind of let us down this last season, but I think,
Last couple of seasons.
Yeah, they're building. It's all good. It's all good. But we've got a story coming up next.
Oh gosh, I'm so
Can't wait to hear
excited
about
for
this.
this.
Yeah. There's been a card that's been located in the area. We're going to leave it right there. We're going to hear more about that. And we're also going to talk to you a little bit more about some of these country artists that you've met and what your impressions have been. So we'll talk about that as well.
Sounds good.
All right. Stay with us, everybody. This is Kerrigan and Company. Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the Boston lover on your list? My friends at College Hype can help. My City Gear, powered by College Hype, has a wide array of custom apparel for your favorite townie. Shop for short and long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, and much more, all in a wide variety of designs. Plus, they have apparel that's specific to Boston, Charlestown, Dorchester, and Southie. Enter code KIM20 at mycitygear.com to get 20% off your entire order. That's promo code KIM20 for 20% off at mycitygear.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan and Company. It's sure good to have you with us today. I want to thank our presenting sponsor, A&B Burger. Of course, keeping me company today is Carolyn Kruse, and it's terrific to have Carolyn with me today. And she is a huge Red Sox fan. We're all Red Sox fans, but I think Carolyn's one of those who stays with them no matter how the season goes.
So she's not so much.
Yeah, she's not a fair weather fan, but I think anybody could be certainly a Red Sox fan or any kind of baseball fan if they, are lucky enough to stumble upon what we're about to share with you. Joining us is Jeff Gross, and Jeff is with Vintage Baseball Cards, and it's good to see you. Great to have you in.
Here. It's a little crazy, but still good to be here.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, no kidding. So we are taping this on a Tuesday, and the word about what we're about to chat about is out today. And I hear media outlets from everywhere in the world are chasing you down. Although my understanding is that the New York Times is already aware of this story and has already written about it. So
Correct.
First off, let me just back up and let's just talk a little bit about your involvement with baseball cards. You're a collector.
I am. I describe myself, I'm a 98% collector, 2% dealer. And the 2% dealer is to fund the 98% collector. So probably a similar story to most collectors out there. You did it as a kid, and then you get a little bit older, you go to college, you meet girls, you're like, baseball cards are boring, and then you come back to it a little bit later in life. So I got back into vintage cards maybe 6 or 8 years ago, pre-COVID, and we were chatting off the air, I guess, that during COVID, things went crazy because people had time and they had money. But I got back into it with a promise to myself that this is not about an investment. I'd like to not lose money, but it's just fun for me. The background stories to the players, the connection to my father, who was a huge Red Sox fan, my mother-in-law, who was the biggest Red Sox fan ever. And then you learn about all these old-time ball players and what the game was like. So, it's a really fun hobby. It's a little nerdy. I used to keep it, to myself because it was a little embarrassing. But in my home office, man cave, card cave, it's my background to my day job. and I usually blur it so people don't see it. And the one time I didn't blur it, people were looking past me like, "What's back there?" So I realized keep it open because it's interesting.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
How did this all come about? I mean, it's breaking, as we said, everywhere. You are like the most popular guy right now in town. Everyone wants to talk to you. But literally, it was a special card that you're going to talk about with.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's
Put in your lap.
Can I?
Just
Yes. Yeah.
have
It's
it.
it's such a fun story. So we were selling my wife's childhood home, and we decided to do a yard sale because you don't sell anything in yard sales. That's very 1996.
True.
But anyway, we did the yard sale, and I'm showing off some items, and then a gentleman came by on a bike, and I overhear him chatting with my wife about baseball cards. So I'm like my antennas, like, what baseball cards? So I introduced myself to him, super nice guy, and he said, I have a bunch of cards that were passed down from my dad. So I'm doing this like calendar math in my head. I'm like, okay, wait, he's about 10 years older than me, then his dad. Oh, these must be some nice things. So sure enough, they were. He came back later in the day when we still hadn't sold anything in the yard sale, and he had a couple of cards, what they call tobacco cards. And they're little tobacco cards, and I know that. So this is actually what I'm showing here is an actual pack of sweet Caporal cigarettes back in 1909.
It's tiny.
Okay.
Tiny, and what they would do is they tuck these cards inside here. It was a terrible incentive, right? So you have the kids,
Right.
Kids and smoking.
Kids
kids
Smoking
smoking. What could
and-
possibly
right.
go wrong? So anyway, back to the yard sale. So he said I have these tobacco cards of Cy Young and Ty Cobb, which are huge names, right?
course.
So I said, oh my gosh. So he brought them back later. They were kind of beat up, but I'm like, okay, this is a real collection. So I'm thinking to myself, I'd love to see them, and if he wants to sell, maybe I'll be lucky enough to do that. So a month or so passes, and we trade messages, and he invites me to come to his house, and he said, I've put spreadsheets together, of the cards. And I'm like, oh, really organized guy. That's great.
And a lot of cards.
A lot of cards. Well,
Right.
that's the fun part of the story. I open up the spreadsheet, and I look, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's like 6 spreadsheets here. What's this?
Right.
And so sure enough, I flip through, and again, I know cards way more than I should, but there's one sheet that I didn't recognize it. I'm like, what is this Morehouse Bakery? Which I'll jump over here. Morehouse Bakery was in Lawrence, Massachusetts, so it's this awesome connection. So I don't know what they are, and I know a lot about cards. So I sent it to my expert, and I said, hey, expert, his name's Don, what's his card? He said, I don't know what it is either. I'm going to send it to my expert. Sends it
Wow.
to his expert, who is a gentleman who is an executive with one of these major auction houses. And he said, your friend has a card that has only been rumored to exist.
Wow.
It was a Joe Jackson from the Chicago White Sox and a bunch of Hall of Famers. He said, it's never been bought or sold before. So I'm like,
Wow.
okay, I'm certainly not buying this collection. So I said to the owner, sit down, you have a big deal. So I'm all excited. I'm going to go see him on Sunday. And then Thursday before Sunday, I said, hey, you still good for Sunday? He goes, yeah, I'm good. He said, by the way, I found a few more cards I forgot I had. Any chance they're Morehouse cards? He's like, yeah, blah, 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 2 Ruths. And I went, oh my God. So the 2 Ruth cards, Babe Ruth. So this is 1916. He's a rookie pitcher with our Red Sox. Skinny little left-handed pitcher. Nobody knew him as a home run hitter yet. And again, I wasn't familiar with Morehouse Bakery. So I send these images off to my expert's expert. He doesn't text me, he calls me. Because
wow.
he's freaking out. So I don't take the call. I'm nervous. I'm like, I don't even know what to say right now.
Right.
So he said that card is, if proven to be authentic, which it subsequently has been, he said that's at least a $500,000 baseball card.
The rookie year card, not the other one.
The right.
Rookie year.
Right.
The rookie year,
Red Sox.
rookie with the majors. So the Babe Ruth card, there's an earlier one 2 years before when he was with Baltimore in the minor leagues. So this is the first time he was on a baseball card with a major league team.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
So-
wow.
And he had no idea that these had.
I think he had some.
Incredible
I think he had
value.
some idea, but when he told me that he had the Ruth cards and maybe one other in his office, I was like, "You got really lucky,
Wow.
man." Not, just because, but he certainly didn't know that it was of this value.
So Jeff, is it in good shape?
It's beautiful.
So it's in
there's
mint?
two.
There's two.
So there are companies that grade cards. They put them in these
Yes.
holders, and they're anywhere from 1 to 10.
He's got like
Okay.
a plexiglass.
Right.
Yeah,
holder
I have a
card.
You have
very,
some
very
framed
old,
here.
my oldest card, 1887, named Mike King Kelly. By the way, side story, he was with the Boston Bean Eaters, and his downtime, he was a vaudeville star.
Wow.
He looks like it. He's got a mustache and the whole bit.
mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous. He's got a big mustache. So I lost my train of thought.
So the cards, they're in good shape.
Oh yes, the condition of the cards. So,
Yep.
so two of the cards, we've subsequently contracted with a big auction company called REA, and they graded the two cards, and one got a 3.5, which is a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the highest grade? 5?
No, 10.
Or is it 10?
10.
Oh, okay.
10,
Okay.
Right. So if you're new to the hobby, like, well, where's a 10? Well, 10 would be non-existent. Funny thing is about grading is you could in the gift for you later, you could open up a pack of cards and it wouldn't be a 10.
Yeah.
Because if it's off center or it's printed.
Right,
with a
if it
mark,
wasn't
whatever.
printed correctly.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's in a way, because these cards have never been bought and sold in the hobby before, the grade almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it kind of does. So I think one of the Ruths is a 3.5, 3.5. The other one's a 1.
Uh-huh.
And my numbers may be slightly off, but prior to this find, there were a total of, I want to say, 30 Morehouse Bakery cards that were ever bought and sold.
It's funny
Really?
they sold cards at a bakery.
That's
So it came in the bread loaves,
Yeah,
right?
so
In the bread loaf?
Yeah.
I had no
Unlike the cigarette pack, which isn't great, the Morehouse Bakery, go get them, Lawrence. They put these cards in these 10-cent loaves of bread as incentives, so that kids would tell their parents, got to buy. I think it was a Betsy Ross bread back then, and the
Betsy Ross may have been around. I'm not sure.
maybe. And the promotion, if you can take a look at this. The promotion on the back is absolutely adorable and charming. It's just one of the reasons why I like to connect. So, hey kids, something effective. If you bring back 50 of these cards to the bakery in Lawrence, no two alike, we will exchange them for your choice of
a dandy baseball and hat.
And ball.
Yeah, baseball.
Baseball, right.
Yeah.
Or an extra long jump rope.
Wow.
Oh my gosh! But it says canceled.
So
on
what
the
they
back.
would do is you bring it to Lawrence, and they'd stamp it and say, okay, you can't come back and get a second jump rope.
Yeah.
But it was
one.
cool because they gave the kids the cards back.
So let me talk about this these cards. So this is different now. If people are thinking about traditional baseball cards, I think a lot of people think of tops.
Tops.
Yeah.
So for those of you who can't see and are listening to us, these are not the size of those tops baseball cards. These are much smaller.
Right.
So this really is unique. I've never seen anything quite like this. So they're saying that this baseball card, 3.5 in rating of Babe Ruth, could possibly sell for $500,000. I'm betting it's going to sell for more because nobody has seen these cards. They're not out there, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that might be the value. I'm doing air quotes here. But don't you anticipate that's going to sell for much higher? Because
I don't know. I mean, I've certainly, if you ask me, am I hoping it will?
I'm trying to pin you down. You see this, don't you?
You are. No, and it's really uncertain. If I had a strong speculation, I would say I think $500,000 is a safe floor.
Do you think that's a starting point?
That's a safe floor.
Is that
Well,
be the
no. So
opening
the
bid?
minimum, technically the minimum bid is $150,000.
Okay.
So the card owner and his wife are coming to our house with my wife and I, and we're having an auction watch party on Friday.
fun.
So when the first bid officially comes in, we're going to toast and
Sure.
And the auction runs from this Friday through December 8th.
Okay.
And the way they usually run is there's a lot of scurry of excitement to get in on the bidding, and then it goes quiet for a while.
Yeah.
And then they do what they call extended bidding because they like to keep people up really late at night. So the last day, I believe, is December 8th. I'm looking to my wife to see if she's December 8th. And what happens is if you submit a bid, you are now in for what they call extended bidding. The auction houses do not lose. If there's someone that wants to spend more,
Sure, they're going to let you spend more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, or fortunately, and certainly understandable, the family is staying anonymous.
They are, yes.
Because, I mean, these people just won the lottery.
They did. They really
And I can certainly understand that. Having said that, what's their reaction to this? I mean, how are they feeling about this?
I would be jumping up and
They
down.
are so again. For me, this is something I've done, and I hope to do more of it. And I joke with them like, "You have so spoiled me."
Yeah.
Because they're such lovely people. They really are. We become friends,
Yeah.
and he knows that it's a super passion for me, and it's just been fun playing it back and forth. So they're. when I met his wife for the first time, I'll remember on that Sunday, she came in and said hello, and just as nice as him, and she said something to the effect of, "Oh, let me know if I can retire early." And I went, "Okay, I will. I will."
Probably can.
Yeah. And this is before I had done all of my research and diligence. And I mean, and that's what I do professionally in my day job. So
Right.
it was this perfect convergence of my own sort of experience with doing, deals like this in another industry, in healthcare, and then crossing it over to the thing I have passion for, and it just all kind of came together.
How
Wow.
cool.
So,
It is.
but they're fun people. They're the ones that came up with the idea of coming over to the house for a watch party.
Good
an
for
auction
them.
watch party.
And clearly, he doesn't necessarily feel sentimental about this card. It's
No,
not, because
no.
he wasn't a collector himself. It
He
was
wasn't.
just dad stuff.
He wasn't. And I said to him, because we become friends, I said, "You got to keep one." He goes, "No, I'm not going to keep any." So, so the one that I showed you, I basically bought 3 from him. Because I'm like, okay, I, on the other hand, am a
am a
collector.
collector.
Right.
And these have to stay in my collection.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about your collection right now for a second?
Oh, sure.
Because I saw the pictures of your, is it a man cave
It's
or
card
your
cave,
basement
yeah.
or whatever? Again, I was thinking of, the movie Fever Pitch.
That's
And I
right.
was thinking your poor wife, like, did you take over the whole house at first? And then she said, "Oh, you're going to have a room."
Oh, all of the other collectors, I do like to show off the room a bit. They always
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you must have an understanding wife." She goes, "She lacks understanding. She's an active participant in the room."
Well, there you
I
go.
mean, the exactly. No,
Yeah.
she's very creative. So if you saw the pictures, there's a green grass rug in there. There's 2 Fenway seats, tons of cards, and the way everything is displayed. So she's very, very involved with that. My kids
love
are
that.
too.
Oh, well, it's fun. I mean, you have the collection. You
Yeah.
must display it. I mean, that's the whole
I
idea,
do.
right?
I do. A lot of collectors, when they have high end items, and I've got some high end. I was going to show you the Topps Jackie Robinson, but and it's totally fine. They will. I can tell you a little side story about that. People will have them and they love them, but they put them in safe deposit boxes, and which is
sure.
fine. I get it. Instead, for me, I just have it insured with a camera and a locked door, and I put it out.
Yeah.
And when people
That's
come to
amazing.
visit
for
me
you.
and they're willing to put up with my long, boring, nerdy stories about the players, they always get a prize for me. So they get to open a pack of cards, and that's my surprise. I have a pack
I
of
know,
cards
and you
for
brought
guys
that
to-
for us, right?
I did.
That's
That's
so
so
nice. That is so nice.
You were
This
asking
is
about
great.
the Topps. So that
Yeah.
particular card was the first year Topps made baseball cards in 1952.
52.
And so this is a Jackie Robinson. I don't know if there's a camera here.
Yeah.
The reason why, just as a side story, why this is fun is Jackie Robinson and Mickey Mantle, which is one of the most expensive cards and high grade ever sold. The reason why is they're Jackie Robinson and Mickey Mantle. But in 1952, Topps was a new company. They brought cards to the candy dealers. They bring Series 1. Oh, that's cool. Let's sell them for a nickel a pack. And then they bring Series 2, and the candy dealers are like, I haven't sold all Series 1. And then Series 3, nobody wanted them.
Wow.
So the rumor is, a fairly substantiated rumor is, Topps dumped thousands of cases of Series 3 cards into the Hudson River in New
Oh
York.
my.
And so they're exceptionally harder to find.
Wow.
But even as a side to that, my numbers may be off a bit, but the Mickey Mantle, which is the grandfather of expensive cards, they've graded hundreds of those, hundreds. This Babe Ruth on Friday, it's the first one.
Wow.
So we'll see.
It is extra special.
Well, I got to tell you, it's a great story.
It is.
And it's
Oh,
very
thank you.
exciting.
Super
and
fun.
yes, congratulations to you being right in the
Thank
middle
you.
of it.
Thank you.
You know, how lucky you were that the
Right.
owner rode by on a bicycle.
Right.
And that you had a yard sale.
I told my wife, I said, if we need to do it again, we'll just have another yard sale.
There you go.
And wait for the next $1 million collection to
Love
show up.
Jeff, be sure I know everyone is going to know how much it sells for eventually, but, we'll be anxious to hear, and be sure you just enjoy the time.
I
Because
totally am. And
this may not happen
I'm
all that
grateful
often,
to you guys
right?
and
Oh,
my friend
yeah.
Dave over here. They probably
Yeah.
can see it in the camera to connect us because it's just such a fun story.
It is.
and I'm glad to be able to share it.
Yeah,
because
it's great.
It is kind of bonkers.
And the fact that it's right here in New England is just awesome.
Well, that's the
Yes.
fun part about the Morehouse Bakery in Lawrence and Babe Ruth with the Red Sox
the
and the
Red
Yankees.
Sox.
Sorry, but
That's hey, 2 years later, we won the whole thing.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Series,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
There you go.
there you go.
She is a Red Sox fan. If she's quoting
1918.
1918.
yeah, we'll continue this. Yeah.
Jeff, thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you
to have
both.
you here on
Thank you.
Kerrigan and
Super fun.
Company. This is Kerrigan and Company. The holiday season is just around the corner. Before all those family gatherings and holiday parties, you'll want to spruce up your home. Let me suggest that you start with updating your lighting. It can make all the difference when you're entertaining. The folks at Lucia Lighting Design in Lynn can help you achieve the perfect atmosphere, whether it's soft, welcoming lighting in the dining room or a workstation in the kitchen. Owner Lucy Dearborn and her team can make suggestions and guide you through the process. If you can imagine it, the experts at Lucia Lighting Design can make your dreams come true. Learn more at lucialighting.com. That's lucialighting.com.
If you like rum, you're going to love Rumson's Rum, New England's most award-winning rum brand. Rumson creates distinctive and savory flavor profiles by hand-selecting and marrying the finest barrel-aged Caribbean rums. The spirits are then blended and finished in the New England Rum House. Choose from Rumson's Gold, Spiced, Grand Reserve, or Coffee Rum, which is smooth and sweet with a warm roasted coffee flavor, a hint of vanilla, and a decadent buttery finish. Find Rumson's at liquor stores or ask for it at your favorite restaurant. Learn more at rumsons.com. That's rumsons.com. Rumsons. Life lived, life enjoyed.
This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to us by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Go to nsmt.org now to get your tickets to the 35th anniversary production of A Christmas Carol, playing December 5th through the 22nd. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company. Well, we're selling cards, and
That was fun.
that was so fun, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
I cannot wait to hear how well that does. I think that he was being generous.
I was lowballing it for sure.
I think so, Carolyn.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that those people out there who this is their passion are willing to do whatever they have to do to get their hands on a card
100%.
like that. So, speaking of somebody and passion, this next story is really great as well. We are very lucky here in the Boston area to have the exhibit. It's Titanic, the Artifact Exhibition. It's here in Boston, going to run through the holidays. And it's sort of an immersive situation that also includes a lot of the artifacts from Titanic. And joining us is Joe Gold, and Joe runs the Gold Group. They're a nationally known full-service attraction and sports marketing firm. Great to see you.
Thanks for
so
having
glad
me.
you
I really
could be
appreciate
here.
it. Thanks.
People are fascinated by the Titanic. And slowly but surely, more and more of these artifacts have been pulled up, and now they've been prepared, and now they're out for people to actually see. Tell us a little bit about this exhibit in particular and what makes it unique.
Sure. So for the first time, Boston has the opportunity to see artifacts brought up from the debris field 12,000 feet below the surface. And we thought it was important to bring to Boston. The show has really toured all over the world, and more than 35 million people have seen it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And the fact that it didn't come to Boston was sort of beyond me, and we've been in the attraction business a long time, and I thought we should bring it in. So when somebody comes into the exhibition, the first thing they're given is a boarding pass of one of the passengers.
Wow.
And it tells you where they're from, how old they are, what their profession was, and what they hope to do when they got to the United States. Mm-hmm. Then you go through the exhibition, the first thing you see is the bell from the crow's nest. And you have to think to yourself, that bell was probably rung when they first spotted the iceberg. That was probably the first warning. Then you come into what we call the engineering and the construction gallery, and you see a lot of the artifacts that are there. The most impressive one is what we call the ballards, and the ballards are a 3,000-pound artifact that was used to tie the ship up in Belfast and would have been used in New York when it got there. You then walk through the first class hallway that's been recreated, and then you come into a huge gallery that has personal items from some of the passengers. We have tiles from the bathrooms. We have fixtures from the first class and third class bathrooms. We have a recreation of the first class cabin. And then probably the signature piece is a recreation of the grand staircase. And people seem to love that.
The photos are just stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, you really get a little taste of it just looking at photos
Yeah,
on the website.
Everybody wants to take their picture on it. We work with Arthur Murray Dance to do dance lessons on the Titanic.
What a great idea.
Then you walk into the boiler room, and then you see sort of the iceberg gallery, and it gives all the warnings and some of the artifacts. And then we have a recreation of the iceberg. But to me, the most impressive gallery is where we have pictures on the wall of the artifacts as they were photographed on the bottom of the ocean. And then we have the artifacts in the glass cases right next to it.
So, Joe, talk about some of the artifacts, because it is amazing to me that ship went down when it did, and most of it wasn't even located until the 80s.
Right.
I mean, that stuff was underwater for a long time.
Right.
So, what do they look like?
So, in the bigger gallery where we have the personal items, it's really incredible. We'll have perfume, we'll have wallet, we have coins and currency, which is really amazing because that survived. It must have been in some sort of metal case. We have China, and in the gallery where I said we have the pictures taken, the picture of the I think it's called the Au Gratin plates. It was in a case. The case deteriorated. The dishes went into the sand, and where it's displayed, and these are the actual artifacts, they are displayed in sand, so you feel what it was like. It's
Wow.
really incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's incredible that they didn't burst with the pressure of the water.
Right.
You know, that much less, just deteriorated
Yeah,
in saltwater.
some of the artifacts, I mean, we have garments of some of the people of what they wore, and there's a suit, and I like to think the design is Glen Plaid. They call it something else, I think. And I look at the suit and I think to myself, oh, I'd wear that suit.
I wonder, did some of the rooms have, like boxes, places, safes that were made out of metal where they would keep their valuables?
I would have to think there were strong boxes in them, in some of them. And, in the recreation of the first class cabin, there's nothing like that. But you again, the people who were traveling to the United States, I mean, it was a 1 week or a 2 week jaunt to the U.S., they had to bring, first of all, they had valuables with them, so they had to have some sort of strong box that they kept things in.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what it takes to move this exhibition from
Right.
place to place. You've just said that it's been all over the world.
Right.
I've often wondered, I mean, what does it take? People come in there, they're wearing gloves. You can't touch this stuff.
So this exhibit came from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
So it was packed up in Columbus, Ohio. It traveled in 13 tractor trailers. A couple of the tractor trailers only had 2 or 3 items in it. The artifacts are all encased. The only people who can handle the artifacts are registered artifact handlers. They wear gloves. When the items are being installed in the cases, everyone else has to leave that gallery. They come in, they install it. A glass housing is lowered on. It's bolted down. The case itself is bolted to the floor so that it can't be moved. No one can touch it. And it's encased in that until it moves on to the next city. So there's a lot of care that's given with that. We have special security systems in the building. We have armed guards in the building.
Sure.
And it's really valuable items that tour with this. Mm-hmm. But when it comes in, we go into the castle and it's just the 4 walls. And between the lighting grids, the temporary walls that are erected, some of the flooring we put in, and it's a beautiful exhibit. The crowds have enjoyed it. The reviews have been stellar. And I think people are getting a great experience.
And it's at the castle at Park Plaza in Boston.
Correct.
And so it must literally take a village to get people, to get all the artifacts and then have all the security. And I can't imagine how big that staff is just to move it from place to place.
When we brought it in, and I remember the landlord saying, you're never going to be ready in time. There's no way you're going to be ready in time because we only had 2 weeks to install it. And we, probably 2 days out, again, there's no way you're going to make it. And we were able to make the deadline, but we had a crew of over 50 people, artisans, painters, carpenters, electricians, even plumbers, to help put it in. And we made the deadline, which was great.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah. Joe, what will happen to all of these artifacts when this touring is up? Do they go to the Smithsonian, or
will it be over?
I don't know.
No, I mean, so it's been touring, again, it's been touring for probably 25, 27 years.
Yeah.
I know there are 3 units of it in Europe right now. There's a permanent install in Las Vegas and one in Orlando. It'll just keep touring.
Okay, so that's really interesting because then what you're telling me is that there are artifacts from the Titanic that I'm not going to see when I go to this show here because they're someplace in Europe. So there must be a lot of pieces. A lot came up off of the ocean floor.
They have been able to bring up 5,500 items.
Wow.
So they're conserving items now. They're planning on a retrieval trip next year, I believe. But they haven't brought anything up since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people were on the Titanic?
There were 2,200 passengers and crew. 705 survived, and about 1,520 perished.
Yeah. Titanic, which, I really hadn't done all that much research, and I think all of us know about the movie, obviously, which is, I think, brought it to light for a full generation of people. But the situation itself was very interesting, wasn't it? Because you've talked about some really high-end items, but there were classes of individuals on the Titanic.
Right.
And while it itself was a very luxurious ship, there were people on that ship, most of whom did not get off, who were third-class passengers who were just trying to get from Europe to the U.S. You probably have artifacts from all different kinds of, classes of people, right? So high-end things and then not so high-end.
So there's a first-class cabin that's recreated, and the price on it, I don't remember what it was in 1912 dollars, but in today's dollars, it was $57,000. There's also a recreation of a third-class cabin, but if you bought a ticket in the third-class cabin, you shared a bunk.
Right.
So there would be 4 people in there. You might not know who the other 3 were. I think today's cost was $1,500 to come over, and that was just somebody wanting to relocate to the United States for a better life.
Sure.
And still, a lot of those people did survive.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. It sure is. So it's going to be there until when?
We're on sale through February 2nd.
Okay, great.
We have special holiday hours that are coming up starting with Thanksgiving right through the end of the year. Somebody's looking for a special deal. We have tickets on sale at Costco for a special price.
That's awesome.
We have relationships with a number of restaurants, including Davio's and Maggiano's for special meals. So people can take advantage of a lot of different promotions that are involved with Titanic.
Yeah.
And what a great thing to do when you have the family in town. You're looking to get out of the house. I mean, that's like perfect.
I want to tell you that this morning, I have a lot of family coming for the holidays. And this morning I said to my husband, I think we should get tickets and we should go. And he said, let's do it.
Come later in the day.
Okay.
Come later in the day.
There you go. You heard it here, folks. Get your tickets for later in the day.
Don't tell anyone.
You're talking about great opportunities. Our friends at North Shore Music Theater, who is a sponsor here of Kerrigan and Company, they recently had Titanic the musical on the stage, and it was an incredible show, I want to tell you. And if you ever have the opportunity to see that somewhere, folks, I would highly suggest that you see it. They've partnered with the exhibition as well. They're offering $5 off adults and kid admission with the code North Shore. So remember, the code is North Shore. So when you go to get your tickets, be sure you check that out. You guys do other. You do other.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So what's coming next?
So we do work with the Boston Symphony Orchestra for Tanglewood, and we work on their popular artist series.
Oh, that's cool.
We have a show right now in Portland, Oregon, one of the Van Gogh shows. We have shows coming up with Arts Emerson. So we do shows all over the country.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Great.
it's a lot of fun.
How did
It
you
is.
get involved in it?
Well, I spent, when I was a young man, I ran away with Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Circus.
No, you did not.
For 20 years.
You
No
did?
way.
Yeah, and learned how to do the marketing of touring exhibits.
That's
and touring
amazing.
shows, yeah.
What a
And what'd you learn about the circus, Joe?
I learned
that you
they
can
made
share?
a lot of money. They made a lot of money.
Are you still a supporter of the circus? Do you still like it?
Well, it's interesting. When I started my business, our first client was the Big Apple Circus, and we
Yeah.
worked with them for
Yeah.
about
I
8 or
love
9
that
years.
circus.
So I'm a big supporter of circuses. They tour, they provide great entertainment, and I think there's one right now on the North Shore. I
Yes.
hear good things about it, so
Yeah.
I'm glad they're doing well.
Did you learn any tricks?
I did, but we can't do it on.
But, I mean, did you ever tightrope walk or do anything?
I tried to walk the wire, a low wire. I tried a couple of other things. Let's just say I was better behind the scenes.
Gotcha. What a life.
Well, I got to tell you, that is a great. I thought you were joking. I mean, who would ever know? And I ran away with the circus.
circus.
Everybody
Yeah.
wants to say that's what they did at some point, but good for you. You actually
Yeah, it
did
was a lot of fun.
So again, everybody, it's the Titanic. It's down at the Park Plaza, and you can go online and get tickets. You'll want to go in the afternoon. A little bird has told us, and be sure you check it out because it looks like it really is a really cool exhibition. I'm going to make sure that I try to get there and
Thanks.
see it
We'd
as
love to
well.
have you.
Likewise.
Great to have you. Thank you
you
so
so much, Joe.
so much. We love your bow tie. For those
Yes.
of you who are listening, you can't see it, but he's got a fabulous bow tie.
You
on.
dressed the part.
Oh, there you go. Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. Thank you.
Take care.
We're going to wrap things up when we come back right here on Kerrigan and Company.
New England's brightest holiday tradition returns. A Christmas Carol is celebrating its 35th anniversary at North Shore Music Theater from December 5th through December 22nd only. Tickets at nsmt.org.
Our friends at Sienna Aesthetic Spa in Beverly want to thank their loyal customers with a pre-holiday special. Get 50 units of Botox or any toxin and get 10 units free. And before you get those injections, how about a skin prep with a Hydrofacial Express for $150? That's a $199 value. Oh, and one more thing. The folks at Sienna will add a complimentary dermaplaning treatment to that facial. Get ready for the holidays. Set up your free consultation with the experts at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Go to siennaaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. It's that time when we wrap things up with our co-host, and it's been Carolyn Kruse keeping me company. This has been so much fun.
I've had a blast. I never got to talk this much, so this is weird.
I know, right. You just get to talk a little bit, and then you have to go to some kind of music, right?
Commercials, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this you talk the whole time, and we've had great guests. I've loved this show because a lot of times our shows are about the personalities, and of course this is about you, but it's been fun to be about subject matters too, you know, and so we've got these baseball cards that are being sold and auctioned off, which we'll wait and see how much they go for.
The Babe Ruth rookie.
Yeah, the Babe Ruth rookie card, and then of course the Titanic, which I am sort of fascinated by that.
Really fascinating. I would love to see that.
Let's meet there.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. And then
Cocktails after.
I was just going to say, there's nothing quite like a good little museum run and then some cocktails afterward. Before we went to our guests, though, I was saying to you, I would love to hear about some of these country stars. Was there anybody who sticks out in your mind who maybe wasn't who you thought they would be, or was more than you thought they'd be?
Yes, and sometimes they change. So because I interviewed most of the big ones multiple times, like the first time I met Kenny Chesney actually was on a cruise, country cruise that I was hosting some listeners, and they had all the stars like in this room, and they all had a table in front of them, and you'd go from star to star and do interviews, record them, and bring them back. And he wasn't particularly warm and fuzzy at that time, and he was brand new. Yeah. I think he had his first single out. But I was like, I was kind of sad about that. I'd given him poems or lyrics that this girl who was like the diehard fan gave to me to give to him. And he was like, kind of like, oh, okay. And
handing it off to someone else. Yeah.
And then, as years went on, he became one of my favorites. Yeah. He was just awesome. Yeah. And
I think they learn and they get a little. They actually get more humble as opposed to
because you know what, his huge success came later in life, and so he appreciated it more. And I think that's a huge part of it. Kim.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Trace Adkins, when I interviewed him in person the first time, was not great to me, but it was funny because when the mic was off and we were in commercials. He was so funny with everyone around me and had a great personality. But when I would ask him questions, he had that big baritone voice.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be like, yep. And I was like, are you kidding me? I just heard you be really funny off. And I don't know if he was nervous or what it was. But then, I got to interview him again in person and on the phone, and he was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes people have a bad day.
Of course.
Or they don't want to be there.
Sure.
Well, you never know what's going on, so I give him grace.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
But Toby Keith was always my favorite.
Oh,
because he would have you on his really cool bus, and it would just be you. It wouldn't be like a room full of radio people. And you're next. You're next.
Right.
You're next.
Right. Not a cattle call.
No, not at all. And he was intimidating and this big figure, and he was just who he was. He wasn't afraid to say anything, and he wasn't bound by any rules. He made his own rules, and he'd be like, here, drink this. I'm like, what is it? I don't think I should drink it, It was his own mezcal that he had, and he was really brilliant businessman.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the restaurant before anyone. I mean, now everyone in Nashville has a restaurant.
Sure.
He did clothing. He did the mezcal, his own liquor before everyone got on that train. So big respect for the
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. Yeah, it was hard he was bigger than life, and it was hard to see those photos of him later in life as
so
he was
sad.
ill. And well, you've had a fabulous career. You're missed. I hope that you'll enjoy your year off, because I understand that for sure. I understand that hour-and-a-half commute, and you just have to get out of that for a bit.
You do.
But I hope you get out of it, and then I hope you come back
Thanks.
and you maybe make some decisions about
Try something else.
the universe guides you in the right places. I really do truly believe that. I think, you've been very clear that your parents need you right now, and I understand that as well. So I hope this is a really good year for you. I
Thanks,
hope you
Kim.
enjoy it.
It's been so fun. I just adore you for many, many years. As you know, when I found out years ago when you were at Boston 25, I found out you were doing a zip trip in our town of Milton, and I was all excited. I called my husband, and I said, we owned a coffee house at the time, and I said, Kim Kerrigan is here with the station, the TV station, and he's like, oh my God, I'm going to bring her muffins. So he made these wonderful muffin tops, and he brought them to you, and then you interviewed him a little bit. I'm like, there you go.
And I've never forgotten it. I will tell you, I was lucky enough to see Carolyn and her husband in the theater a couple of weeks ago. Well, I guess it's been a couple of months ago, because you weren't quite,
Right.
you at that
I was
point
still
were
working.
saying the time is coming. It's coming. And after you guys sat down, I was with Randy. I said to Randy, I interviewed her husband, and he brought muffins. They were to die for. And Randy's response was, well, of course you'd remember somebody who brought you muffins.
and where are mine?
Right, exactly.
Where mine? That is so fun. But I got to say, it's weird being on the other end.
Yeah.
And
I've had so many people who've sat there and said that same thing. It's very strange being interviewed.
It is. It's fun, but very different. And I always played games with my artists, just to get to know them a little bit when I would talk to the country artists. So I would like to do that with you.
Absolutely.
Kim
We can do
Kerrigan.
it.
Since you had a life in news, we're going to call it What's New, Kim Kerrigan.
Okay. All right.
This will help us get a real picture of you, I think. Everything here.
I'm not sure anybody really wants a real picture, but okay.
Everything here is new. When you were new as a home buyer, where did you buy your first home?
Our first home was bought in Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was on television there, and Randy and I lived in an apartment, and we decided we would put down some real roots, and we bought a house, and we moved out 8 months later for Boston. So some real roots.
Well, hopefully you made a profit off the house.
We did, so that was worth it, you bet.
And when your children were new, babies, how did you come about getting their names, picking their names? Because that's always a big thing.
So AJ is our oldest, Austin James. He went home without a name.
Oh.
He was Baby Kerrigan because we couldn't decide if we'd name him AJ or we'd name him Hunter. In the end, obviously, we made the decision for AJ. And his middle name is his dad's middle name.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
Austin is a family name. So that's where Austin James comes
So it
from.
came from family.
And Gracie, my grandma, said to me, Grace was a surprise baby. And she said, well, this is our little amazing Grace baby. And boom, I said, she'll be Grace. That's it.
Oh,
So
that's
where Gracie
beautiful.
comes from.
I love that. And what was your last new purchase?
Well, I bought a Christmas tree a couple of days ago.
Oh, you did?
And that would be number a lot. So I think,
You keep buying new ones and dumping the old?
Well, I don't dump, Carolyn. I just keep adding them in the
Everything.
house. So
I have a garage like that right now. What's a favorite new song that you've been listening to?
I love Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars'
Oh,
song.
that is a good one.
Die with a Smile. Yeah, I think it's just great.
Brilliant. A favorite new movie or show? That you've been watching?
Recently, my husband and I finished watching the Diplomat. Thank you.
Diplomat.
With
Carrie Russell, yeah.
Yes, we just finished it just a week ago, less than a week ago.
That is on my list
Fantastic.
to start.
It's so good. Watch
Okay,
it.
I'm on it.
You must see it.
A favorite new thing about Boston? Because every day there seems to be something new popping up around
Yeah,
here.
I think you're probably right. I think that my favorite new thing probably is a restaurant. And there's a new restaurant that has just opened up in the Back Bay, and you've asked me this, and now I can't remember. But we had somebody on who was talking about it last week, and I don't remember what it was.
Right.
She was
What
talking about
street?
somebody,
Can you remember the street?
but there's a new restaurant in Back Bay.
Okay.
So that's it. That's
I'll just Google.
That's the best I can do.
That's all right. Hey, I
That's horrible,
recently
right?
discovered a new part of Boston because
You
I
did?
went to the club Roadrunner to see
Yes.
Nate Smith, who was performing there a couple weeks ago. And I have not been over there by the New Balance building. It's like a whole new little city, and
You're
there's
right.
a name for it, and I can't remember what the name is.
It's beautiful there,
It
though,
is
isn't
gorgeous.
it? I
And there are
know.
all these restaurants.
Yep.
And a big, huge parking lot that was really affordable to go to the club. So loved it.
We love it.
Yeah. So thank you.
Well,
What's new,
thank
Kim
you.
Kerrigan?
Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't remember the name of the restaurant. In the minute we get off, I'll
Of
remember
course
what
you
it
will.
was. We
Or
had Jenny
tonight.
here last week, and she was talking about so many great new places. So
Oh, there's so many every day. It's
every
hard
day.
to keep up.
You're right. Listen, thank you.
Thank you,
and thank you for the
Kim.
beautiful flowers. I'm so glad that you could be a part of the show today. It's
And
been a
hope
treat.
you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and
Thank you.
Christmas.
You do the exact same thing. And thanks to everybody who's listening and watching. We so appreciate it. And we want to remind you to join us on social, and we will see you next time. Thanks everybody for listening to Kerrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.